guys, how is everybody doing today? We have a really fun, interesting topic coming up today, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. Uh, it shall be fun. So, we decided to go with the art of self pleasure, but it's pretty much talking about our experiences growing up and our experiences with as adults with masturbation and what it means. So what does it mean? So I actually went on the internet and looked up by WebMD definition of masturbation, and it is the self-stimulation of the genitals to achieve sexual arousal and pleasure, usually to the point of orgasm or sexual climax. It is commonly done by touching, stroking, or massaging the penis or clitoris until orgasm is achieved. Some women also use stimulation of the vagina to masturbate or use sex toys such as a vibrator. So did you know that that's what it meant? I am a very curious friend, and my friends can tell you that I've asked them before. I've asked some men if they think that women masturbate more than they do and what their average is on a weekday. And I've asked women if they think that men masturbate more than women do, and their answers were pretty funny. But I won't actually go over that today. So I did my own research about it, and I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about the myths and everything that everyone thinks, which I found really funny, and then some I found to be a little true. When sex education in school, it's not doesn't actually touch. See what I did there? The subject. It's really interesting how we come up with our own conclusions as to what each and everything is, like, sex and masturbation. So talking about it a little bit a while ago with Alan was kind of funny, because it is so true. Like, with our culture and everything, like, they just give us so many stories and so many things to prevent us from doing it, even though it's something that is perfectly natural and is perfectly normal, and it's also part of our bodies and how we develop and stuff, and their first experiences with it can either scar you or give you a whole, basically, stage guideline, something to go off of with your sex life once you grow up, and it's kind of funny. So it was funny to find out, I didn't know this, but it was funny to find out that masturbation was once considered a perversion and a sign of mental health. Perversion, I can see. I can understand. Religion, and old habits and traditions and crap, that people always want to have it under control. Obviously something that is, like, to be done in private, but I don't know if that's obvious to everyone. but years ago, I'm sure that it was, considered something kind of crazy. But now it's a normal and healthy sexual activity. Masturbation is only a problem when it inhibits sexual activity with a partner. If it's done in public, or if it causes significant distress to a person. So, I mean, obviously there's some restrictions, but it is essentially something that can be completely done in private and mostly, like, healthy. There's no real, unless, like, public display of it or something like that. Also on medical news today, I just kind of took this information. It says that research has found that amongst adolescents aged 14 to 17 years old in the U.S., around 74% are males and 48% of females masturbate. And among older adults, 57 to 64 years old, it's a roughly of 63% of men who do it and 32% of women who do it. Now, I think that's a really interesting fact because when I ask most of my friends, nowadays most of us think that women my age, just in case you guys need a reminder, I'm 30 years old. But women of my generation and women of our age are now very open about it. During quarantine, we were seeing the sale numbers incrementing. See what I did there? Of dildos and all kinds of sex toys and stuff like that. And so I think that maybe in our current time, it's going to be a different amount of numbers, the percentages, the difference between a man and a woman. But I think these things are so interesting because we're just so used to it. We're just so used to it that movies make it a normal thing, that magazines make it a normal thing, that commercials make it a normal thing. I don't know, can I really listen to a commercial? But where it's more common and more advertised that boys and men do it, so it's not really taking into it's not a surprise to me that the numbers are such a difference between teenagers, like 74 to 48. Like, I think that's a big number. I really thought that it would be a little bit more on the similar side, but be a little bit, we need to be able to talk about it and let our girls know that it's and our boys too, that it's safe to do it, it's safe to practice, it's a part of learning of their bodies. But it's even safer, that's how you're able to stay abstinent through your teenage years. At least it did to me, anyways. So there's some really interesting facts too on these articles that I found that talk about the myths and the facts of like what sometimes people tell us of what masturbation, most to men, but also some to women. I mean, like I said a long time ago, it was considered a sin. It was considered something that you were crazy, that only crazy people would do, that's insane to me. But here are some myths that it causes blindness, hairy palms, impotence later in life. Boys, that's not true. You can enjoy it. Erectile dysfunction, penis shrinkage, penis curvature. That one's not true. I mean, all of these are not true, but penis curvature? Really? Low sperm count? That's not true. You make some every day. You're just gonna keep making that for the rest of your life. Infertility, mental illness, and physical weakness. No. Maybe if you have really rough sex for like a couple of hours, that might cause that. But for a day, you'll be sore. Another myth is couples think that their relationship must be unsatisfying if either one of them masturbate. This too is a myth. It's something I've been wanting to talk about. But here are some. Oh, and then here's more myths. Side effects are the myths. So masturbation is harmless, but some men suffer from chafing under skin if they do it too rough, but it heals, so you'll be fine. Just stop playing with it for a couple of days. It can cause the member to swell if done too many times within a short period of time, again and again. This is called edema, but it will go away naturally. So again, you can play with it, you can even play with it roughly. Just be careful, because if that happens, then that's all it is, and you're not gonna die from masturbating. Here's some really cool, interesting facts though. So men who masturbate at least 5 times or more each week during their 20s are 1/3 less likely to develop aggressive prostate cancer than those who ejaculate less. So there's many more studies where you can actually look up the benefits of masturbation for men. I mean, also for women, you know, but for men in this particular subject, where for some reason, you know, the less baggage you carry every day can help you prevent prostate cancer, to get prostate cancer aggressively. I guess it's obviously not saying you'll definitely not get it if you ejaculate a couple times a day when you're 20s, but it will definitely give it's a physical benefit to your body that, you know, you can get by ejaculating. And why not, you know, feeling less stress and getting your fix for the day. Here's something else that's really interesting. One study showed that women who masturbate have had happier marriages compared to those who don't, and that is one of the things that I like to talk about, and I wanted to get into. Eventually we will, about women who masturbate in their marriage, or about partners masturbating in their marriage. You know, like, it's okay if you do it on your own, and it's okay if you guys do it together in your relationship, but we'll get into that a little bit more as we go along. So there was also in this article things about feeling guilty. It may cause conflict with people's religious or spiritual guilt. It may cause conflict with people's religious, spiritual, or cultural beliefs, but it is not immoral or wrong or shameful. This is really important. Discussing these feelings with a person you trust or a professional might help you get past these feelings. It is actually really common to feel this guilt and to feel this shame, especially if when you were a kid you got caught and people made you feel, or your parents, not just people, but or priests, religious people, you know, made you feel like it was wrong, like it was a sin. It is actually just a total normal thing that happens with our bodies, especially growing up. You know, we're trying to understand our bodies and we're figuring it out, and we are touching ourselves, trying to discover what these feelings are, what these parts of our body are, and naturally they start to react and they start to do these things on their own. And not just men when they wake up with morning wood when they're little kids, like, you know, it's a thing that women go through as well, and it's perfectly normal. I think one of the most important things is being able to talk to your kids about it, but we'll also mention a little bit about that. So masturbation has actually physical and mental health benefits. Research shows that sexual stimulation, including masturbation, can reduce stress, release tension, enhance sleep quality, boost concentration, elevate mood, relieve menstrual cramps, alleviate pain, and improve sex. You masturbating and identifying and recognizing and understanding what your body likes and doesn't like improves your sexual health by promoting intimacy, allowing you to tell your partner what feels good and what doesn't. It shouldn't be shameful for you to be able to know what you like and for you to be able to tell your partner what feels right and what doesn't, you know, especially if you're faking it at some point. That's only hurting you, honey. You know, you don't have to pretend that you like it. I mean, we unfortunately as women don't have the luxury or the unfortunate like men who can't. I mean, I guess they can fake it too, but you know, it shows with them getting hard and stuff that like they're not liking it. But like, we get to discover our bodies, you know, and get to know what feels good and get to know what doesn't, and we get to explain that to our partners. And you know, what better way than to talk about it and be comfortable about it. I really wanted to get to this part. So how to approach it to children. And the reason why I brought it up is because our stories today from my very beautiful anonymous friends are going to talk about that, about their experiences as children and how their parents approached them if they got caught, and if they did not, did they ever approach them about it. So here's a way, perfectly normal way, that you as a parent, or you viewer who eventually might become a parent, can approach this. And like, you can also just kind of think back about how embarrassed you were if your parents talked to you about it, or if your parents caught you doing it, how embarrassing that was. And remember that it's important to talk to your children about it, you know? So, how to approach it. Remember to explain that it's a normal thing. Get rid of your own shame when talking to them. Don't show anxiety when talking. It's okay if they don't feel like doing it at all. Teach them about it being done in private. That's very important. Sometimes kids don't understand the difference, you know? Sleepovers, school, where they have nap time, or anything else that might make them be exposed to be ridiculed or to be shamed, you know, because you didn't talk about it. It's really important. We don't want to scar your kid for life because you were too embarrassed to talk about it, you know? Teach them it's okay to explore their bodies at a young age. This particular article, this woman was dealing with it with her 3-year-old. It isn't a sexual thing at that age. Some parents panic into thinking their kids have been exposed to content or assaulted, but it's a comforting, soothing, feel-good sensation. Self-exploration is a great thing. Some kids start exploring their bodies at an early age, like 3. It's perfectly normal. It opens a conversation to explain it's okay to do it. Practice this in private, but also no one else should be touching you this way. Your body belongs to you. And this, you guys, to me was very important, because it's a beautiful way to open this door and have this avenue where you get to teach your children about 2 things. 2 very important things. 1, their body can be explored because they need to be able to understand what's going on with it. It's happening. It's gonna happen to them. I know they're still your babies. I know you changed their diaper and you don't want to see them grow up, but it's a part of life. It's a part of growing up. And if your parents would have told you or taught it to you differently, or had this very simple conversation, even with nerves and everything, I'm sure that it would have made you feel differently while growing up. So, it's a really interesting topic. And number 2 is to open this avenue and this conversation and this trust with your child that no one else should be touching them that way. Not their father, obviously, not their mother, obviously, not their cousins, not their uncles, not grandpa, grandma, the neighbors, the friends, no one. It allows you to talk to them and bring this conversation, this topic that may be a little hard to talk about, and for them to even understand it, but at least you already have this like setup of, this is your body and this only you can do to you, only if it feels good. If you have any questions, you can come to me with no shame, with no questions, with no doubt that you will not be heard. And it will build this trust with them that if anybody were to touch them inappropriately or make them feel like it's a game and that they're being hurt and that they get threatened or whatever, they have this trust to come to you and tell you, hey mom, hey dad, like such and such touched me and I didn't like it and it didn't feel good, or they asked me to touch them. Like, all of those topics like can be, discussed very simply in simple terms as to telling them this is okay with you in your body, but no one else is allowed to touch you. It's very important. It's very, very important. It saved me from being raped at one point in my life, honestly. It's a very simple conversation that my parents had with me. And it all started with talking about me discovering my own body. And they sat me down and said, we didn't openly discuss me touching myself, but they sat me down and said, is this okay because it's for you, it's your body, but just don't let anybody else touch you. And if anybody makes you feel uncomfortable, then you gotta go and tell your mom. Then you gotta go and tell the person you trust if your mom isn't there. And so when this man tried to touch me inappropriately and started kissing my neck at 11 years old, after I got my very first period in my life, I was terrified. I was panicked. I was asleep and I woke up from this person touching me inappropriately. And so my first reaction was to yell and to go and tell my mother. And that's exactly what I did. I ran and told my mother. And my stepdad at that moment, he got enraged and beat this man up and got him away from me and from where we were sleeping at. And so it literally saved my life, having this very simple, awkward conversation. But it was still this conversation happened when I was like 7, and this attempt happened to me when I was 11. So it can save your children and keep them from being brainwashed or being touched or being hurt. So just have this really simple conversation and you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay, enough about that. So here are my viewers' questions, and I'll go over their stories, and I have a few shout outs to give to you guys. So I wanted this whole masturbation thing to be a little bit more fun and a little bit more not so serious and not so like, oh my god, using proper terminology and stuff, but and telling you guys my deepest, darkest secrets. But I mean, come on, so I asked my viewers, can you remember approximately how old you were when you touched yourself for the very first time? Didn't necessarily mean that they actually masturbated to climax, just like, found that this particular part of their body was really interesting to touch. How old were you when you masturbated for the very first time? Do you think masturbation is bad? Or when you were little, did you think it was bad? Were you ever caught by your parents? I think this part's gonna be fun. And did they make a big deal, or did they explain what you couldn't or couldn't do and where? Do you think, or did you think it would have side effects if you did it, or if you did it too much? Did you feel guilty, shame, or like cheating on your partner? Guilty or shame ever in their life, or like guilty or shame or cheating when you're on your partner when you did it, simply because you did it, do you think that because you masturbate you could be a better lover, or tell your partner what feels good? Have you or would you masturbate with your partner? How was it, and was it embarrassing? Do you think that masturbation has any benefits for you? And so I'm so excited to tell you guys their deepest, darkest secrets. So yes, let's start with deepest, darkest secrets. Shout out to Mr. Simpson. I gave them nicknames. So shout out to Mr. Simpson. Thank you so much for your story, and I really appreciate it. So here we go. I discovered masturbation when I was 7 years old, while accidentally watching a video I found in my parents' closet. It was a porno, and a woman was touching herself. Ooh. But he first masturbated at the age of 13. Only initially did I think it was weird, but never bad. Parents never caught me, but Dad did walk in my room once when I turned a porno on before taking my pants off. He didn't realize what I was doing. Or so you thought. I think masturbation has no side effects. I think watching porno does, but that's a different topic. I have masturbated on FaceTime with my ex many times and watched a few of my exes do it in front of me. I think masturbating before you have sex is good because it makes you last longer during sex. I only felt shame when I lied to my ex about it, because she asked me if I masturbated or not. So, that's fun. that's very interesting. And again, like, I think that oh, one of the things that I didn't mention that I forgot to mention is that when he first saw the video of this woman touching herself with the porno, he thought it was gross. Like, he had no interest. So, you know, our bodies start to develop and start to, like, you know, asking for things and getting heated in certain areas and reacting a certain way, and that's just part of growing up, and that's just part of, like, you know, what our bodies go through. And so it's perfectly normal that at 13 he started to like it, he started to get curious, he started to get wondering and stuff. So we're gonna go with Mr. Confidential. I don't quite remember how old I was, but I remember getting some morning wood. I didn't know what it was until I asked. See, he had an open communication with his parents. When I discovered it, I didn't think it was bad. I still don't think it's bad. I just feel guilty sometimes, like regret. I was never caught. I don't think it was. It has side effects. Some people say it does. I never feel guilty while having a partner. We all have needs, and sometimes our partners can't for one reason or another. Just because I do it, I don't think I'm a better lover. But I have told my partners that I do it, and they're okay with it. I don't remember doing it with my partner. It has a lot of benefits, in my opinion. Stress reliever when I have headaches, or just an urge, and I get it over with. And I love his answer. It's so honest and true, and I love it. And I also like to point out, you know, that he had the communication with his parents to ask him, like, yo, what's going on with my body? What is it doing that? It didn't used to do that before. And also, the communication with your partner, that it's okay. Like he said, you know, sometimes we get caught up in our lives and we don't have time, or sometimes we don't feel like it and they do, or they don't feel like it and we do, you know, and it's perfectly normal to have an open communication with your partner and to just kind of go and explore our bodies. And better than cheating, you know. So here we go, Mr. Cowboy. Shout out to Mr. Confidentiality and Mr. Cowboy. So I was 11, and at one time it just got hard. And I didn't know anything about it, but somehow I figured out that if I put my hand on it and I rubbed it, it was a nice feeling. So I just kept doing it to see what it felt, why it felt good, and what would happen. And when suddenly, bam, it shot out. I weirded out a little bit, but when it came out, it felt like really good. But I was still weirded out about it, and went to see what it was. What it was that came out, and it was a lot of it. He actually went and touched it. I don't know if he actually cleaned it up. He never really mentioned, but I'm sure he cleaned it up. Yes, I think it's bad if you do it too much, but the feeling when you shoot it feels great. He was never caught. Yes, I feel guilty, but once in a while I forget to delete my recent pages and I will see it again. But I think of it as a fantasy. Porn. I'm referring to porn. He likes the roleplay part of it. He doesn't think that he's a better lover because of it. It depends sometimes. I can last longer because you can last longer because you just came and it's swollen. It can make you last longer because of it. Or you can also go real fast. Me and my girl have both done it in front of each other. I even got her a wand. Hey, yes, guys. None of this, like, she's gonna like the dildo more than me. She's gonna like the toys more than me. You know, it's a part of understanding that your partner has needs, and sometimes you can't take care of it. Sometimes you're busy. Sometimes you're at work, and you know, it happens. It's perfectly normal. And also you can use it while you're together. I've heard so many stories. Not currently, you know, but girlfriends talk, you know, hashtag goals. I can't talk too much about my personal stuff. I cannot. Anyways. So here we have the women's side of self-pleasure, and answers to their questions, to the questions as to how it went for them when they were younger. And also, may I point out, at Familia First, you can find these really cute bows. I realized when I said my intro, I said ribbons, which makes absolute no sense why my mom would make ribbons, but she makes bows. So as you can see, super cute. My mama makes these bows that you can find at Familia First 8888 on Instagram, and that's our family business page where you can find tumbler cups personalized for your own desire, names, cute things, whatever you want. And you can find my earrings, which I'm not wearing today, and you can find these really cute bows. She has all kinds of inspired Disney princess bows and all these other kinds of things, and that is just my ad for today. Because again, Familia First is promoting Shenanigans and More, and Shenanigans and More is promoting Familia First. ¿Qué onda? Alright. Okay. So back to Shenanigans and More. So Miss Sunrise. I was about 6 and 7 years old the first time I started to get curious about my body. The first time I actually masturbated, I was about 7 or 8. I didn't think it was bad, but my parents made me feel like I had to hide it, even from them. When I was caught, I was more like, they wondered why my hands had a funny smell, and usually I would be red or rosy cheeks. They didn't make a big deal, but they'd explain that I could only do it on my own in private. They also began telling me that only I could do that to myself and no one else. It opened a conversation about others respecting my body and what to do if anyone touched me inappropriately. To be honest, I don't think I ever thought I would have negative side effects or any. I just like the feeling. I feel shame when my parents caught me or demanded an explanation, but after that, I had never. Guilty only a few times while with partners, but always believed my needs were important, and if he couldn't keep me pleased, I was going to get it done. Somehow. I think me recognizing my body's preferences was vital to me keeping an honest conversation with my partners about what felt good. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't always honest. Bad for me. I have masturbated in front of my partner, but mostly we have done it to each other. I have made it made a different bond. I trusted them sexually because of it. I think masturbating has many benefits, just like sex. The best part of it is no condoms or trauma comes with it. Hey, Miss Sunrise, shout out. Miss Ladybug. I don't remember exactly when I discovered it. I don't think I realized it was masturbation. I just knew it felt good or cool. I didn't think it was bad, but something new. I don't find it bad. It's part of our body's needs and wants, but I particularly don't find it necessary. I can go days without it. I think about it not think about it for days. I guess I'm strange like that. No, I wasn't caught. By my parents. Mom was really open about sex and sexuality. Open conversations were okay, no limits. Even if caught, I don't think she would have shamed me. I don't think it has side effects if done too much. However, I do think people can become addicted to it or like it better than sex, which could be because you know your body better than anyone else. No guilt or shame. Never felt guilty doing it while having a partner. I don't think it can make you a better lover, or has made me a better lover, but it can help you control your climax and possibly that can make you better. I don't think it helps you tell your partner. I do think it helps you tell your partner what feels good, what feels better? Well, for those who are open up to their partner. Yes, I've done it with my partner, and it's fun to know he enjoys what you are doing and they can learn too. Honestly, I don't think it has benefits for me. Even though I'm freaky and stuff like that, I'm not into masturbation on its own. Well, that's perfectly fine too. I mean, you do share it with your partner, so it's definitely fun. And I forgot to comment on the other one was that's what I was talking on Miss Sunrise. That's what I was talking about being able to have this conversation with your children about being touched inappropriately or not. Allowing anyone else to touch their bodies that way. But shout out to Miss Sunrise and to Miss Ladybug. It's really cool that you got to have this really open relationship with your mother about it and being able to ask any questions you wanted to ask. And that's exactly what I keep telling you guys. When we talk about having communication with your children, with your partner, with your family, with your parents, and all this stuff, like, this is what I mean. Like, being able to talk about it and being able to trust that you can, you know, come and ask them these questions that are may seem very simple or very silly, but are actually very important, you know, and can change your life entirely. So I've got one more for my women's stories, and then we'll just, you know, go over it and wrap it up. I didn't mean that one. So Miss Rory Givro, don't ask. I discovered it pretty young. I think like 10. I thought it was a game. I even did it with a friend, another girl. Don't think bad. Then I realized it was a private thing, but I don't remember how. My sister almost caught me once, and I remember feeling embarrassed. Then I have a clear memory of feeling really bad after I did it when I was 16, like sick to my stomach, and guilty because I had started going to Catholic church at 12 years old. But eventually I got over it. Now I think it's healthy and not bad at all. My mom was actually working all the time, so she never caught me, but my sister kind of did. She just laughed and said, "You're not wearing any pants," but didn't talk about it. Never actually pointed it out. I didn't think there were side effects, but I didn't want to use penetration until after I had sex. I remember trying it and it hurt, so I only touched the outside. I never felt guilty because I had a partner. I don't think it makes me a better, and I do think it makes me a better lover because I know what feels good. I can guide my partner. I've masturbated during sex and next to my partner. Benefits, yes, it helps me release stress, just feels good, and it's loving myself. I'm sure I release endorphins or something. I've come a long way from guilty 16-year-old. I feel great about it now. I'm great about it now. Now, if only I could get some alone time. So it's definitely very fun and interesting thing to talk about. I feel like I'm really happy that nobody got caught or shamed because of it, but I know that people have, and I know that some parents, especially those religious ones, are really Alan was supposed to talk to us about all this stuff, but he's a little too busy this week. Shout out to Alan, by the way. So I think it would have been fun to have him in our discussion about it, and his experiences. Yeah, like I was telling you guys, you know, it was a very interesting thing for me to, as well, growing up, to finding out that thing, but nobody else. I wasn't ashamed of it. I wasn't really, like, you know, attacked or anything like that. But I wish we could have had a little bit more about that. A little bit more about those shameful parents, you know, that they're just like, "Can I attack you?" But I really love that if you guys got to see most of our friends who did have an open conversation with their parents about it, are a little bit more in the exploratory, I don't know how to say it, side of their sexual lives, you know, where it's a little bit more open to playing along with their partner and to please each other or to please themselves in front of their partner, open to different experiences sexually, and and stuff. And I think it's really important that we, when our kids are at that age, early on, is okay to, if it happens, but when our kids are in the age to be able to talk about it, not shame them at all about it, and just let them explore their bodies. You know, it's a part of growing up. It's a part of becoming, identifying yourself. And like the article said, of a 3-year-old, like, obviously she's not thinking sex, you know, she probably doesn't even understand what that means. It's just curious about their body and how their bodies are changing and how their bodies are developing. And so it's really important that we discuss these things with them, and that we don't shame them, and that we get to have fun with it as well, with ourselves, you know, now that we're grown-ups and stuff. The whole reason why I wanted to talk about it too is because I know that there's some people that never experienced it at all, like when they were young. And again, because of shame and their parents, and like not having any sort of conversation with their parents about it. To me, I feel like it was pretty natural to kind of understand what was happening without having to get much of an explanation, or without like having like, I don't think I actually watched porn until I was like 18 and with a partner. Like, you know, I never got the experience to find it at my parents' closet and like know what it was. But I'm also sure that my brother can say the same. But it was never really like that exposed. I wasn't really exposed to it like that, you know. But like I said, there's always this difference between the like boys and girls. That it's more acceptable for boys to do it than for girls to do it. And so in this day and age, I think that we have to be open to everyone being able to do it and able to practice it, and understand that it's a part of your body. And if you're an adult now who gets to experience that with your partner, have fun. You know, if you never got to experience it when you were a kid, you know, it's fine. There's no shame in that either. But you know, get to have fun and get to experience it. And if you have never done it, even with your partner, and don't know what the hell we're talking about, like, you know, go try it. Go downtown on yourself. Try it. Have some fun. Figure out what you like and what you don't like. And then maybe you'll have a better experience with your partners, or with your current partner as it is. You can always talk to them as well. Like, bring it up my podcast as an excuse to talk about it. But be able to explore your bodies, know what you like. You know, there's no shame in finding out what you like and what you don't like. I feel like, in my personal experience, see, the thing is, for women, it's more like a visual thing. It's more like a feeling thing, like an emotional thing. So we oftentimes, that's one of the questions that I missed. I should ask, what gets you there? You know? And I think for girls, I speak personally, it's more about like your emotional state, your visual, your mind. Like, sometimes guys don't understand. Sometimes like girls may seem like we're disconnected from our bodies while we're having sex, but it's honestly because it doesn't necessarily that it doesn't feel good. Sometimes we're just disconnected because our minds are like thinking grocery shopping, laundry, we're having our to-do list, or you know, we're thinking of so many things. And so if we're into it mentally, we have a better experience. And so when we do practice the art of masturbation and self-pleasure, what gets you there? You know, a lot of guys use porn, and a lot of guys use their girlfriend's pictures and girlfriend's nudes and stuff, like, hey. This is one of the things, guys, we don't like dick pics. I mean, maybe. But once you're like together, you know, and to girls, again, it's more about the actual visual than just like your schlong hanging out in a picture. Like, we really don't care what your schlong looks like. I mean, some women do, but not oftentimes. If I've already seen it, I want everything else. I want to see the rest of the show. I don't just want the main star. But yeah, so some women it's visual, some women may like porn, some women may not, and sometimes it's about music can set the mood, you know. That's why in some of the things that I have seen, some of the movies that I have seen where they like talk about women masturbation, which is not as common as men. Again, society and its standards and the Hollywood and how it's everywhere for men, but it's not as open for women. See what I did there? Open for women. It's not as common for women be shown masturbation, but on the things that I have seen, it's like they do this like candle lit baths where they show women touching themselves. Dude, it could just be like you rubbing your clit before going to bed because you can't go to sleep. I mean, it happens. You know, sometimes you're too stressed out. Sometimes you had a long day. Sometimes your man is not there because he works at nights. Or, damn him. Sometimes, you know, he's already asleep because he has to wake up early and you gotta do it. Or sometimes you're just fucking single and you don't want to go call that fuckboy at 2 a.m. Say what you're doing. You know, just rub one. It's perfectly normal. It's perfectly natural. And for those of you who have experienced or who have not experienced any kinds of toys, it's perfectly safe to order stuff online. It goes directly to your house. It's packaged very secretly, and no one else needs to know that you have your stuff or your needs. And or you can do what I plan to do next, which is go to a sex shop and find your favorite toy and find your next mate. And enjoy that as well. So, you know, it's a perfectly normal thing. We can all do it. We can all talk about it to our children with no shame. And if they ask any weird or embarrassing question that you do not want to answer, like ask you if you do it, you know, then just kind of find something really fun and smart to avoid it. You know, just kind of get back on them. This is, we're talking about you. This is important for you. But definitely have an open conversation with them about it and just enjoy it, you know. Enjoy practicing it on yourself, for yourself, you know, with your partner if you have a partner. And if you get weirded out, then you need a new partner. I'm just kidding. No, you need to teach them, show them this podcast, you know, open the conversation and be able to try it together. Honestly, I think that most guys actually like it. I mean, if they get off of porn, why can't they get off of you getting off? You know? And it's kind of funny because I haven't actually confessed anything, but should I confess? To the one partner that I did do it with, it was very interesting because he was older than me, so he knew what he was doing, and it was a very fun thing that happened. He blindfolded me because shame, right? You don't really do that in front of anybody else, and so he asked me to do it, and I was like, what? I was like, we are only fuck buddies. Like, this is like, I can't do this. Like, why? What do you mean? And so he said, stop thinking about it. Just do it and enjoy it and let me watch. And I was like, okay. And so I tried to just focus on being blindfolded and pretending that he wasn't there and that there was nobody there. And so I went to town on myself, and it was an insane feeling because, one, my senses of sight is like gone, and two, because he's getting turned on by this display show of myself, you know, and it led to different adventures in that day, but I'm not going to talk about that. But it was a very interesting and fun thing to do. It definitely opened up our relationship to different experiences, and it was a different and fun experience for myself to be able to do it and not feel shame. And so on different occasions with different partners after that, I was able to feel more confident and more secure and more sexy and more open to the conversation of doing it with my partner. So definitely something fun to talk about, and something you guys can do and check it out and try and practice. And most importantly, if you do have children, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's important to talk to your children, to not let them feel shame about it, and also to tell them about the other stuff. And no one else is allowed to touch them that way. It's really important, because there's so many kids who, because of our own parents' shame, and feeling embarrassed and stuff, like, don't talk about it and don't prepare your children to be to have a defense on themselves. So open that conversation, and have them build that trust with them, that they can come and talk to you about anything, and especially anything sexual, any curiosity, rather than they go to you than anybody else who would, pervert them or give them the wrong idea and the wrong information. So I know I sound like a broken record, but it's important. So thank you so much, you guys. I had fun. This is a really fun topic, and I hope you guys like it. And then we'll get to talk more about it, and hopefully Alan is available next time for us to talk about it. I thought it would have been a really fun dynamic to talk about this. Probably would have made me confess a little bit more than I should, or than I could have, but it would have been fun to hear about his stories and about his experience with Latin parents and the shame that they bring on us. My parents are not religious, so they never really cared. They never really shamed me that way, so that was fun. But something to talk about. I'm glad I gave you guys some facts, and I gave you guys some stories, and I gave you guys a new ways to communicate with your children and with your partners about this topic. So have fun, enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you guys next time.